Dun, 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 dun.
Yay! Hello, it's Echo, and I have two beautiful humans here with me.
I'm Ansuini, and I use he/him pronouns.
Hello, my name is Chandler. I am non-binary and I use they/them pronouns.
Yeah. I brought these people here today because we all happen to be on the ace spectrum. Yay! Do you want to talk about your, general asexuality?
I would say that I'm demisexual. I feel like that's the most, there. I do experience sexual attraction very, 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 very rarely because of that.
I would say that I'm a sex-indifferent asexual, so I don't experience any sexual attraction, but in the right relationship with the right person, I'm totally fine with having sex.
Yeah, similar. And I personally like pan-gray asexual. So first of all, do you consider yourselves, sex positive? In terms of just, cultural acceptance of sex. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure.
People seem to think we're so anti-sex, and it's
Yes,
I'm not anti-sex for you.
That was my next thing.
I'm just sometimes anti-sex for me.
On the idea that people have in terms of, asexuality and sex positivity and how people think that they're not compatible.
Oftentimes I feel like people think when I say that I'm experiencing sex repulsion, that means, being sex repulsed means that the idea of sex is repulsive, which I'm sure it could be for some people, but for myself, it just means that in that moment, the thought of me having sex is a complete, no-go.
Yeah.
But, you could still be sex positive and be like, yeah, sex is great, casual sex is fine, all that stuff, everyone do your own thing, but just, in the moment, I don't feel like having sex, but, everyone, you do you.
I definitely agree with that because I think that as a person who always preaches sex positivity and body positivity and self-image in terms of finding yourself attractive and sexy and being confident in yourself and your body, that people seem to find it really interesting when they find out that I'm asexual. And it's interesting to me that people always think that those things are mutually exclusive, you can't be this and this.
I feel like a lot of people also get confused when, for example, a sex repulsed asexual or an asexual who's experiencing momentary sex repulsion will still engage in masturbating or sex toys, doing what they want. It's but it's different. I feel, I don't know, is that the same to you?
I can wrap my head around that.
Yeah, I feel like that's also where some people might get confused, where it's sometimes having sex with another person could be the part, because again it's the whole lack of sexual attraction that kind of is the overall descriptor of asexuality.
Yeah,
so
that doesn't mean that suddenly our genitals disappear.
Yeah.
Or that they just
We're not like Barbie and Ken dolls.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a bit confusing for some people to grasp. Yes. Yeah.
I personally think I'm very sex positive, and I wish that sex was less taboo, because I feel like it would reaffirm my asexuality, because I constantly forget that everyone else isn't asexual because no one talks about it.
When a society views sex as a more comfortable topic and less taboo, then that even opens up the space too to then talk about asexuality as less taboo. Because then you're just let's just talk about the different ways people can experience sex, sexual intimacy, and sexual attraction. That opens the door for people to be oh yeah, and asexuality too is completely same level of being able to talk about it and make it visible.
Yeah, and there doesn't have to be some great trauma to trigger asexuality.
That's another thing.
It's just the way some people are. It's kind of when you're not attracted to someone and you're okay, but I see how you could be attracted to them, but for everybody, at least for me,
Exactly, that makes sense. I always the example I always jump to is ice cream flavors. It's if someone asks you oh, what's your favorite ice cream flavor, and someone's I don't like ice cream.
I like that.
And then people are how do you not like ice cream? How do you not have a flavor that you have this preference for? And it's like it.
I love that.
It's okay. This is something that I personally struggle with. As you know, asexual people can have sex for lots of different reasons, which is something we discussed in the video that we did with Aaron. Yeah. Plug. Okay. Have you ever felt tempted to use your asexuality as an excuse or a reason to turn someone down or away, or as an excuse not to start a relationship? Because I've been tempted to use it as a justification for someone who might like me to say oh, I'm sorry, I'm asexual, rather than, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just not attracted to you specifically. Kind of like an I have a boyfriend an excuse.
Yeah, to not personalize it.
Yeah, but then I consciously know that I can't, that I just have to buckle down and say, I'm sorry, I'm not attracted to you, because it's not properly representing asexuality in its continuing misinformation.
Yeah, I feel like it's really tempting for that to be the ultimate, like, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, okay, like, they drop it and there's no, like, it doesn't make them feel bad, and, like, it's a scapegoat, and it's so tempting to just be like, oh, sorry, I'm asexual, and it's like, oh, that's fine, we can still be friends, whereas otherwise they'd be like, I'm not good enough for you. But again, I really try not to, because I don't want to reinforce that idea that, like, asexuals are just, like, little plants that you leave in indirect sunlight that photosynthesize, and, like, that's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel bad because, like, obviously I don't want to do that, and I don't want to, like, reinforce this idea of that these things are, like, deal breakers. But it's a very quick way for me to see if people are assholes.
Yeah,
and
like you
so,
can gauge someone's wokeness.
Yeah. That's what makes me feel tempted to use it as a reason to reject people, because I don't want to even put myself in a situation where I'm going to feel like they're missing out by being interested in me.
That makes sense.
Like, you don't have to date an asexual person, it's like,
Yeah.
I never want people to think that I'm being like, oh, if you don't date an ace person, you're mean.
You're
It's like,
ace-phobes.
you do you, It's
Yeah.
just like, I don't want to be in a relationship with someone who feels like they're making a sacrifice, or where I feel like they're not getting everything that they need from me, or, they're not fulfilled in our relationship. So it's like, if that's not something you're into, then, like, bye.
See, and people have different needs. The same way that I need someone to respect my asexuality, and that there are things that I can't do, things that I won't do, and things that my ability to do them will fluctuate. I want someone else to be able to feel comfortable in their unwavering sexuality, if that makes sense. So, like, it's like, you're allowed to date and be in relationships that make you feel comfortable and wanted. And I feel like people don't understand that I want someone to get what they need out of a relationship, the same way I want them to respect the fact that I have needs in a relationship. There's just a level of, like, no one should feel pressured to stay in a relationship where they feel like they're not getting out of a relationship what they're looking for in a relationship.
That took me a long time to realize that you don't have to continue a relationship if it's not making you happy, if it's not fulfilling, if you don't want to be in it. That is enough of a reason to end it and move on. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention or ask was, is there anything that you just kind of wish the whole world just already understood about asexuality?
I'm not a little kid. Like, because there's this idea that asexual people are these tiny little pure cute ew sex gross like caricature. And it's like, I am a person well aware of sex, knowledgeable in safe sex practices. I support people having safe sex that they want to have and engaging in different sexual activities they want to have, and that sexuality in of itself is very fluid. I'm not ignorant about sex and its existence. I'm already mature and knowing, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm ace.
I just want people to stop thinking it's a hormone problem. That shit drives me crazy. When people are like, oh, you're sick. It's like, no.
It's a problem with your...
No.
Can I have some aspirin? I'm feeling really asexual today.
Aspirin.
Stop! Get that on a shirt. Aspirin.
I'm cured. I would just want people to stop thinking that, again, asexuality has to stem from some sort of trauma, or like that it's some sort of like as
the
you're
be all
broken...
end all one narrative of but that's like a common narrative that ignorant people use just against queer people in general, like when a man meets a lesbian and he's like, what man hurt you?
As if it's not natural, and like, well, something had to make you this way, and it's like I think that kind of rubs me the wrong way a little bit because I'm trans, and I had a lot of people react that way when I came out as trans as well. Just like, well, what made you this way? Like, what was it that happened?
Went wrong?
And it's like,
how'd you end up this way?
This is natural. It's, some people are just, this is the way that we are. It's not that something terrible happened that made me transition, and nothing terrible happened to make me asexual. It's just, I just am this way,
you know how people are, how every now and then people will be like, oh, but you have to want sex because that's the end all be all bottom line of what humans are. You exist to procreate and have children. It's actually not true, because you have 4 children, your 4th child is statistically more likely to be gay, and the reason for that is, like, this is Mother Nature's birth control. You do not exist to pass on your own genetics. You exist to pass on the genetics of your parents. If you have a child, that is like a solid number where if they have kids, you have enough parents to sustain the the young mouths that need to be fed. But if you have 4, then it becomes like too many mouths to feed versus parents. So your 4th child is statistically most likely to be in some way less likely to have children because they provide an extra parenting factor for the group. Your family unit is more likely to survive if your 4th child is gay or asexual or for some reason less likely to have children of their own. And like they're an extra provider. Like you can't just say that we exist to like make our own babies because we operate as family units. People are like, the only reason we exist is to have sex and like procreate and make babies. I'm just like, no.
Which is so oversimplified.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's end this before I go off on another tangent or rant or anything. Thank you for watching. It's been wonderful. The next thing that I usually do is I offer awesome points for people who made it all the way to the end of the video.
You know, it's a video about asexuality, so if you got to the end, you get 69 points.
Ooh, I like it. You can do that.
You get 3 gay science points. Because you served up some gay science. I was like, I'm here for this.
Yes. Thank you for watching this wonderful video. Please check out these lovely people. And there's just going to be links everywhere. That's pretty much everything. Okay, bye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, let's huddle together.
Wait, so what are we doing?
Just smile.
Smile.
That's gay.